Okay, now we're going to talk a little bit about this Russian tube here. I just took one out of the packaging and laid it there so you can see what it is. A little tiny wire-ended tube called IN-17. And it's really, really small. The characters are only about 3/8 of an inch tall and 3/16 wide. And the whole thing is about 5/8 of an inch top to bottom and only 3/8 of an inch across the glass there. And I got one fired up over here on this clock that uses the 74-142 TTL counter chips. There, that's about as close as I dare get. Keep it in focus. But there it is, the little IN-17, and mounted on a 12-pin dual inline socket with each of the wires insulated and soldered. And that's the single seconds. So now the tens of seconds over here, that darker orange one, that's a Chinese tube called QS18-12, and it's wire-ended too, and you can see it's been soldered onto a 14-pin dual inline header. And then these ones out in front, it says 2126 there, that's the hours and minutes, and those are some old Burroughs B5853 tubes that were salvaged out of some equipment. And I actually wire wrapped some 30 gauge wire wrap wire onto the short pin so I didn't heat them up with the soldering iron. And then I soldered the 30 gauge stuff onto some 14-pin dip headers there. That was 24 years ago when I did that, and these things are still working fine. But when you go to salvage tubes out of used equipment, you just really can't solder them again, because if you do that, you'll wreck them for sure. So it's best just to do something to keep the heat off. And like for the little Russian one in back there, I made the insulators short enough that I could clip a soldering heat sink close to the tube to prevent getting any heat up in there, because that heat will just destroy those glass seals. So anyway, that's a close-up view of the 74-142 clock.